So Ahaz in Judah is being attacked by the alliance of Rezin in Syria and Pekah in the northern kingdom. Ahaz goes to the king of Assyria and he says, I'm your servant, I'm your slave, I'll do whatever you want, I'll kiss your toe. Just, you gotta rescue me from this bad situation. Help me out, please. Give you whatever you want. This is the way a Davidic king acts. This is the way a Mediterranean male is to act. What happened in 721 to the northern kingdom? The northern kingdom, which is in alliance with Aram, attacking the southern kingdom. The Assyrians conquered them. The Assyrian Empire swallowed them up. Okay, so I want you all to follow this because this is a little tricky. So what does the king of Assyria do? 2 Kings 16 verse 9, the king of Assyria listened to him, listened to King Ahaz in Judah, and moved against Damascus, captured it. That's the capital of Syria, Aram, deported its inhabitants to Kir, and put Rezin the king to death. See, look at that. It's an actual little relief of doing that to the kings, putting a nose in their a ring in their nose, and then leading them around, because this is an honor shame culture. So you're leading the king around like an animal, like a bull or an ox, and then putting out his eyes. Okay. Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, that's the guy in the picture, by the way, agrees with king of Judah, King Ahaz, the foolish idiot king, and destroys Syria and its king. And the idiot king of Judah is playing right into the hands of Tiglath-Pileser, who has long-term plans to conquer the whole Levant. What a foolish and shameful king of Judah Ahaz was, the son of David. He burns his son alive as an offering to ensure the protection of other gods besides Yahweh. He begs like a slave before a king who is even a greater threat than the two enemies currently besieging him. If you keep reading this, you begin to see that he even begins to emulate the Assyrian cult and the practices of the Assyrian Empire and its gods. The author of Isaiah chapter 7 presumes you, the reader, already know and have all this auxiliary background information. You get the Shinola joke. Isaiah is a high context document. Why should he repeat and spell out in detail what he thinks you already know? He's not writing for Americans, is he? Americans, low context. We need to have it all explained. So now the author of Isaiah has his own version of the story. So we go from 2 Kings 16 to Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 7 verse 3. Then Yahweh, God, said to Isaiah, go out and meet Ahaz, the king, you and your son Shear-jashub. Shear-jashub. Okay, that's interesting. Isaiah's son has a Hebrew name, Shear. Shear-jashub. Shear is Hebrew word. It means remnant. Let's look at that word. Now, a side note here, the Hebrew language did not get vowels until the 8th century AD. So you have 22 consonant letter alphabet, all consonants. Well, how do you make sounds out of that? Except you need vowels, right, to make meaningful sound. How would you manage with these 22 consonants before the 8th century had vowel signs? Well, for one thing, you just sort of knew what vowels you used to plug into the words. But things were slippery because where one vowel could be used, in another context, another vowel sound could go, and you have a completely different word. So you have MLK, for instance, right? You can put Malak, that gets you angel. Or you could put Moloch, and that gets you a demon. And then somebody thinks later on, maybe demons are related to angels. Because it's right there in the word. See how that works? For example, Isaiah's son's name is Shear-jashub. Shear means remnant, right? Let's take away Shear. Just look at Yashub. In Hebrew, it's YSHWB. Now we plug into that the vowel sounds ah and oo, and that gives you the phonetic for Yashub. The word which means turn around, or convert, or change, or return. And seen this way, spiritually, Yashub can be used to mean something like the Greek metanoia, meaning to put on a new heart, to change, to come back. Spiritually, or literally, to return. But this only happens if you plug in the right spirit, the right breath, the right wind, the right vowel sound. into these consonants, ah and oo, in the right places. Seen this way, with the right spirit, Isaiah's kid's name means a remnant will return. Shear, a remnant. Yashub, will return. A remnant will return. So when the king Ahaz sees this kid coming up and he knows his name, oh, that means something. A prophet's kid means something. It's like a sign. A remnant shall return. Okay. Looking at Yashub again. Wait a minute. Let's say instead of putting oo sound into shub, I instead put an ah wind into it, rendering the name Yashab, not Yashub, but not Shear-jashub, but Shear-jashub. What happens to the word? Well, Yashab is a different word than Yashub. Same consonants, but with a different spirit, a different vowel, a different breath, a different wind. Whereas Yashub means will return, Yashab means will remain. Will remain. All the possibilities of change and transformation and metanoia are closed off with that different vowel breath, that different spirit. Now the kid's name gets associated with complacency and stagnancy and the hard heart. Seen this way, with a different spirit, Isaiah's kid's name means a remnant will remain. Will remain. It's ambiguous. So in Hebrew, the kid's name, SHRYSHWB, depending on how you look at it and depending on how you breathe it out, gives you a different insight from the prophet and ultimately from God. Doesn't it? Perhaps it means that bad times are ahead and we're soon going to be going into exile, but a remnant will return. Shear-jashub. Or perhaps it means that come what may, some of us will stay behind. Shear-jashub. The king and the elite, 2% of the population, and meanwhile the rest of the slugs are going to go off to death camps to work as slaves for the Assyrian Empire. See, it's ambiguous. And what I'm trying to show you here is the prophets are always ambiguous. They are never very clear. You can always get the wrong interpretation. See, that's important to understand.